Okay, welcome to our weekly Find Your Next Six-Figure Infill deal. We're going to cover our deal this week, which is the best deal we've seen in the 3 months that we've been doing this. And then we actually added two more six-figure deals this week as well. So we're going to cover those. And then right off the bat here, we're just going to cover some of the details of the list. So if you don't have full-time access to our deal list, so we have some requirements in order to get access all the time. So the people that have access to our list see when we add deals to the list, and then they can also see the underwriting on them all the time. So you can basically hop on there anytime you want. If you are a realtor, we require that you attend both sessions of our infill development. So we have parts 1 and 2. We either do those in person occasionally, and then we also have them recorded. So you can either watch the replays or join them in person live. We also have our part 3, which is our deal list Zoom call that explains our deal list and how to look at it. We also have our realtors sign an agreement stating that if they're going to use the strategies that we are suggesting with buyers, that they will introduce us to their buyers early on in the process. And then one of the things that we do for realtors as well is we offer free marketing campaigns provided by us, and you can co-brand that as well. If you are an investor, the requirements for those or to have access to the list is you have to have a signed buyer's representative agreement with the sponsoring realtor. So the realtors that have access to our list get the have the ability to get referrals from us for investors that don't have realtors that they are signed on with. So the other thing, so if you're an investor and you already have a realtor that you work with, you can still work with them. We're just going to require that they also have access to our list, so they're going to have to go through the training session. If they don't want to do that, then it kind of limits us on how we can help you when you purchase these deals. And then we also have our buyers watch the webinar sessions 1 and 2 on infill development. It's kind of the same thing that realtors go through. It's just tailored more towards investors. And then also watching that part 3, which is going over the deal list and how to review it and analyze it. And then we also have you sign an agreement with us saying that you'll use our services if you implement our strategy on identified properties. And then the last thing is that we charge a consulting fee at purchase. So when you get one of these deals under contract, we do most of the underwriting and the analysis and the due diligence on it for you. There's a few things that you have to do with it. But then we basically charge a consulting fee when you close on the property that kind of covers our work that we put into it and all the upfront work that we do. So the fees that are associated with that, we have a consulting fee that's paid at close. So right now, for anything up to adding 4 units, we charge $10,000. Most likely that's going to actually increase in January. We're still kind of analyzing this, but most likely that's going to bump up in January. So now till the end of the year, that's good, but it'll probably increase. We charge $15,000 for a subdivision of 5 to 10 units, then $1,000 for each lot after 10. And then the other ways that we make money is through our entitlements fee. So we charge a fee for getting it entitled. That's basically just based on the hours that we put in. So it's a project management fee. We just charge an hourly rate at that. And then we also have our general contracting fees on the horizontal development and then as well as the vertical construction. So that's what's in it for us, how we make our money. And then when you have access to the list, we're also going to send you our weekly deal. Every Friday we send it out, our 1-page deal list sheet. So you'll get that first before anybody else does. We also send it to a wider audience, but those get sent over the following couple of days. So basically, if you have regular access to our list, you actually see those deals first, and you have the first opportunity to get under contract. Okay, so going into the details of the list, or the details of our infill deal list and our offer. So we call this our 6 figures in 36 months or less infill deal offer. And why this works for investors is that most investors love the idea of real estate, but they worry about losing money or not knowing the process, or afraid they're going to make a mistake. They're worried about projects dragging on too long, or contractors cutting corners, or just not having the control or visibility. So we built our offer specifically to eliminate these concerns. So with Matson's Homes, you stay in control of your capital and decisions while we do the heavy lifting. So the core components of this, so number one is we offer expert deal underwriting, so there's no guesswork. So we vet, analyze, and underwrite every infill deal on our list. We're not just estimating numbers. We have done every step of these deals ourselves on our own projects, so we know where the costs and timelines can go wrong. We also offer and negotiation support. So we guide you and your realtor on how to structure and present offers. And because we've done multiple deals of these ourselves, again, we know how to get these deals accepted. We also offer step-by-step due diligence. So I mentioned earlier, we have our due diligence sheet that we do most of it. About 10% of it is the buyers are required to do. But basically, we walk you through the due diligence step by step, and you can follow along. And then at the end of this phase, you decide whether to proceed with all the risks and numbers laid out clearly. The other part of this is we can renovate the existing house if it's needed. So some of these deals have fixer-upper houses. Some of them are turnkey. So if they're turnkey, it's basically much more straightforward. You just rent it out. But if it does need renovation, a lot of times it's even a better deal. So you can actually kind of double dip on your profits, where you can actually fix something up and make money on the flip as well. So if this involves an older home, we can actually renovate it using our systems, trades, and experience. Then we offer entitlement management. So we manage the entitlement process with the city. We've been through all the pitfalls and know how to minimize delays and keep projects moving. We also do the horizontal development. So since we're general contractors, we can manage the land development process. And our subcontractor relationships and proven practices help keep costs competitive and timelines efficient. And then the last part of it is the vertical construction. So obviously, Matson Homes, we're a new construction builder. We're so much more than a builder. We're basically a developer and builder, vertically integrated. But this is where we kind of specialize, is the vertical construction. So we oversee every step of the construction. We kind of have the process into a well-oiled machine. And then additional bonuses to this deal too. So we have our bonus offer number one. So we're going to give you our ultimate guide to infill development. We're also going to provide you with our due diligence checklist. So right now it's 13 pages long. About 10% of that you'll actually fill out, and then the rest of it we do through due diligence, and then you follow along with the process as we go through. The third part is, before the end of due diligence, we provide you with a one-page underwriting worksheet that we base our guarantee on. So this acts as the final go or no-go underwriting for you to base your final investment decision on. And at the end of the project, we're going to compare results with this guaranteed underwriting worksheet. I just realized I don't think I'm recording. Oh, wait, yeah, I am. Okay. Moving on. Okay, so number 4. So we'll provide you with our entitlement process checklist and projected timelines. And then the 5th part is we have our complete construction process and inspection checklist. So with our vertical construction, we also have a inspection checklist for ourselves and our project managers. And then along with that, number 6 is we actually offer a third-party new home inspection report at 4 phases. So all of our new construction builds, we actually hire a third-party inspection company to come in and inspect at framing and rough-ins, then at drywall, then at interior and exterior finishes, and then the final inspection. So this just provides you with peace of mind that you have a quality home, even behind the walls and between the studs. And then number 7, we're going to host a monthly progress call. I keep saying it's going to be done next month, but this is probably going to start at the beginning of the year once we have a few more projects kind of going full steam ahead. We have several projects right now. It's probably going to be like a 10-minute call versus by the beginning of the year, we'll probably extend it to an hour. So And then bonus offer 8 is we have provide you with an entitlements guarantee. So we guarantee that if we don't achieve the unit count we underwrite, we waive our next fee or apply it towards development costs. So this deal that we have today, we actually think we can get 2 units out of it. By the time we're done, if somebody gets under contract, by the time we're done with the due diligence, if we get it entitled and we can only do 1 after we say we can do 2, we'll actually waive our next fee and apply our fee towards the development cost for you. And then we also provide the underwriting guarantee. So we guarantee that if the project doesn't meet at least 100% of the cash flow or profit projected at final underwriting, we refund you until it does. So that's up to 50,000 per deal. So it's not unlimited, but it's more of a guarantee than anybody else is willing to offer on this type of deal. So, and the reason why we do this is, number one, we're confident in our numbers and our ability. And number 2, we just want to make sure that, you know, when people don't have the experience of doing these deals, that they have the confidence that they can rely on us and our underwriting. So we're kind of a team in this, and that we're backing up what we're saying with our own money. So the investor's role in this. So you're the buyer, so you buy these deals. We're just doing the heavy lifting. So you're making the big decisions. We're doing all the work. Your timeline. So the target is 6 figures in 36 months or less. So every deal is different. Some of these can be as little as a year. Some of them are 3 years, or sometimes if it's multiple, if it's a mid-sized development, which we also do, it can be 4 or 5 years. But we project that all at the underwriting stage. You also have protection. So you always have visibility into the cost, timelines, and progress. And then your return. So you hold full ownership. We only get paid when the deal performs. So our incentives are aligned with yours. And then, you know, why us? So we specialize in infill development. So this is our bread and butter. We build small multifamily ADUs and subdivisions. The exact strategies cities like Boise are encouraging. And we've already figured out the business the hard way. So we built the system so you don't have to. Our team has completed projects from single family flips all the way to multi-unit developments, and we also have held rentals. So we have experience in every aspect of each one of these deals. Okay, before I move on to the actual deal list, does anybody have any questions on the guarantee or anything that I covered there? All right. I'll share my screen. Okay, let's just jump right into this first deal that we saw this week, and then we'll jump into the other ones that came on the market also. So after we went for, like, I think the past 2 weeks, we didn't see any really good new deals come on the market. Well, then this week, early this week, actually, a lot of these came on. So this first one that is our infill deal of the week is the 6073 South Eastwood Place. I'm going to pull up the overhead map on it here first. So this is along Warm Springs Avenue, like East Boise. It's actually right before you get to Highway 21. So awesome location, especially with the new development that's been going on in that part of town lately. You know, over the past few years, obviously, this has just blown up. And this is north of Warm Springs, so this is actually in the foothills. There's a new development right here, and then this development here has actually been here for, I don't know how many years, but it's been a few decades. So this is actually currently outside of city limits. So not to say it won't get annexed at some point, it probably will, but it is actually in the county. So there's a few things with that. Number one is it's going to go through Ada County zoning, but the city of Boise is going to have a lot to say about it as well. So that's just kind of a added mix to it. But this is Highway 21 here. This is Warm Springs. This is basically right before you get to that. And then as far as the condition, it looks like they recently did, and even on the description, it says they recently did a bath or a kitchen remodel. It's it's a turnkey property. It's in a livable condition. I actually, in my numbers analysis, I actually have a small rehab budget to paint the entire house. And then probably do some additional things like update fixtures and that kind of thing. It's kind of a small budget, but just basically kind of updating it a little bit. But it's rent ready already, livable the way it is. Okay, so 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. So it's on, going back to the overhead. So it's on about 3/4 of an acre. So you access the house from up top here on Eastwood Place. And with this zoning in Ada County, you can actually get 6 units an acre. So this size, you can theoretically get up to 4. They do have like some requirements for street frontage and everything. So to meet all their zoning requirements, you can actually only get 2 additional lots here. So you can't maximize it at the 4, but you can get 3. So we did 1 lot up here and then another lot below along Bryan Way. And then I'm just going to go also show you just so the Google Earth image here. This is actually kind of cool. So normally we don't go look at this, but I wanted to get an idea of the elevations here because it is Foothills. It's going to have to go through Foothills development. So there is a fairly big slope here along Bryan Way here. So we'll have to kind of figure that into the development here. And then also along the top part, Eastwood, there's also it dips basically immediately right off the road. So there's going to be some backfill. There's going to be large retaining walls in this. I did factor that into all of our development costs. We won't know exactly what those costs are until we start doing the due diligence, but I did give a good healthy budget. I've actually analyzed these deals in depth before and I've done actually complete estimates on houses with these big retaining walls. So I have a good knowledge base of what those additional costs are. And that's all factored into these deals. Okay, the rest of the numbers. So the one thing I will say about this price, so the 625, the property, I think it was directly right next door, sold recently, or on the same street anyway. Or maybe it was below, something like that. But anyway, one of the properties like very nearby sold for 475,000, I want to say, just recently, or 495,000, but it was 5 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. So I actually adjusted this. So I think if this was not sitting on a large lot, I think the value would probably be closer to 475. And that actually seems really low for this area. I think it's just, for whatever reason, comparables and because they're older homes, they don't appraise for as high, or they don't sell for as high as other parts of town. But you also, on the same road, you have new construction that's selling for, over $1 million. So there's actually comparables for new construction that are very good. And there's comparables that of a similar size house that sold. And that's where I got this 475 from, is adjusted from there. So the house itself is probably a little overpriced. This is the cost per lot basically that you're paying over and above. This is the entitlement cost per lot. So this is factoring in our fees as well as having to get some engineered plans for the Foothills development. And then these development costs, that's again per lot, and that is for, most likely we're gonna have to put in sidewalks on all the lots. We're gonna have to do some road widening down below on Bryan. And then we're gonna have to do septic tanks, and then also probably some power upgrades. So that's factoring in those costs that we think that we're already gonna be dealing with. These new lots, we see a value of probably 300,000 a piece. So if you were to just go and sell those lots at that point, this is what your profit would look like. Now, ideally, anybody that's doing these projects with us, we're actually like trying to build these all the way out, and that's where the most profit potential is as well, because we get the most of our chunk of money on the actual build, and that's why we do this ultimately, is to get these deals all the way through. This is the construction total per house. So this is based on a cost per square foot plus those additional costs for those large retaining walls and hillside development costs. So then this is what you're in all in at. Based on a 2,800 square foot house, we have a really good comparable that sold for 1.28 million. We actually increased it to 1.3 because that one was a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. And we just think it'd be more sellable with one more bedroom, maybe set it up as an office and then another bathroom. Then your sales cost and your total profit on this is on each house. So that's basically why the end profit. So you have each house's profit of about 300,000. Now this is assuming 2 houses the same size. I think it once we start doing the analysis on this, I think it would actually behoove us to do a much bigger and better house on the top lot because it's going to have amazing views up there, and then on the bottom lot maybe doing this size house, which is still going to have views, particularly on the second floor. But I think the top lot we can actually have an even better house that has more profit potential. This is the renovation budget for the existing house. So again, just paint job, replacing some fixtures, nothing major, just making it a little bit better. I'm pretty conservative on this ARV. I think once you build out the or build two more houses next to it, this is going to actually increase quite a bit. So again, we try to be really conservative going into these deals, but I think this is going to be much closer to bare minimum where we're actually selling it now, and most likely even higher. And then these are just the holding costs. So this payment is over 2 years. This is based on putting 15% down on the existing house and then factoring in the taxes and insurance as well. And then this is the rental prices that you can get for a 4-bedroom house in that neighborhood according to Rentometer. So you just have a loss on the existing house just simply because of these sales costs, but you'll actually be cash flow positive most likely while you're renting it out while we're going through the subdivision process. This refinance cost is if you refinance each of the houses to hold on to them at the end with all the costs that you have into them. So then you can basically potentially cash flow, although this deal, you would actually, because of the higher price, and then the rents would be still $3,500, but you're in, you have a $750,000 mortgage, you'd actually be cash flow negative on these. So if you wanted to keep something as a rental, what I would actually probably do on this one is I would sell the existing house, sell one of the new houses, probably the one down below, or even the one up top, because it'll probably have the most profit, and then keep one of the new construction houses and rent it as an Airbnb. So if you're, wanting a long-term rental that cash flows, I would actually design one of the houses as an Airbnb and to maximize your cash flow, and then still basically get all your money back out of the deal plus some profit, own one of the new constructions with, 0 cash out of pocket, and then have massive cash flow as an Airbnb. So that's how I would do it, I guess, if you're looking at retaining something as a long-term investment. But overall, these numbers are based on if you just split everything, build it, and sell it, $600,000 profit. This is the total capital investment based on 15% down on the existing house. And then this is also factoring in out of pocket on the entitlements and the horizontal development. And then also your holding costs on the house. So, and then on the new construction, if you do all this stuff out of pocket on the new construction, you can actually do the new construction, including interest most of the time, with no additional money out of pocket. So you can actually have a construction reserve with interest rolled in with no additional capital out of pocket. Okay. Any questions on this deal before I move on to the others?
Yeah, real quick, Zach, would you always wait until the 2 new construction homes are finished before selling the existing home if your plan was to sell all 3?
No, I would sell the existing house. Well, it depends. Like this deal, maybe. Most deals, I would say no. I would sell the existing house once you have those new lots that are like fully split from that existing house. So the process that you do that, and Josh, you probably have a little bit of familiarity, but you can't actually sell the existing house until you have the final plat recorded, and you have to put in the horizontal development before you can get the final plat recorded. So once all that horizontal development is done, then you can finalize that plat, and now you have 3 individual parcels, and then now you can sell that original house. So the only thing with this one, where you might not do that, is that because this deal might actually be or it might actually, the existing house might sell for less than what you bought it for, because this might be a little overpriced. You might end up having, you might end up having to pay $88,000 out of pocket when you go to sell that house, if it only sells for 500,000. So that's one where maybe you hold on to it all the way through construction. Now, most of the time you get cash back on these deals, so I would say most of the time sell that deal, the original house, once you have it fully split, and get some of your cash back, and then that's lowering your cash out of pocket.
Completely understand that. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. We're going to jump into these other deals. So this is another interesting one in the Foothills, this Kitsap Way, 4462 Kitsap Way. This is zoned R1B, but it's on 2.5 acres. I think you can only get one, like realistically, only one lot out of here, because most of the acreage is actually up in the Foothills, and there's not really like a logistical way, I don't think, to develop this stuff up here. So this is basically all like foothill property up here. But realistically, you can split off a lot from the bottom right here. So basically, and this is actually flat right here. So you could probably build a house right here. And then the lot would actually be probably like kind of like some kind of corner lot right here. Or you could even theoretically, you could even go, straight over here, just change the approach here. So if you don't want to get all into that, I would just go maybe kind of kitty corner across here, and then you have a flat building lot right here. So this is another interesting one. This one is off of Hill Road. Pretty great location again. So you have 36th Street right over here. So you have the golf course there, and all the fun North End stuff. But yeah, another fun property. And this one has a pretty good profit potential as well. So we have $150,000 profit potential on this one. Now, most of these deals we actually analyze with putting 25% down. We have a client recently that was able to get an investment loan at 15% down. So if somebody wants to minimize their cash out of pocket, we can look at underwriting these with the minimal cash investment. But we just, on the high level, we try to set the expectations properly that it's going to take more cash, but realistically, you could get financing most likely for 15% down. And then you could even, most of the time, a lot of times, get the horizontal development paid for in a loan as well. The only downside to that is you have additional holding costs with that, obviously. So you have to put in the horizontal development, and then that's basically another year of interest that you're paying. But it's not money out of pocket that you're after paying. So you can basically limit your out of pocket expenses quite a bit on these. But this still has great ROI. So 42% ROI, even based on this amount down, and we could probably get this into the 200 range. So you could even have a better ROI on this. And then again, this one probably isn't ideal from a rental perspective, as far as building to rent, just because it's more it's in a location that's really not going to be an ideal rental. It's more ideal for building to sell it, to maximize that profit. So again, we have our development or build costs in here, and then all the development. There's probably we probably overestimated the development costs a little bit in here, because I don't think we're going to end up having to put sidewalks, because it's kind of a private road, and it's public, but it's not a like highly used public road. So it's probably pretty likely you can get waivers on the sidewalks in this case. At the very least, that's not a huge expense anyway on this one. Okay, and then we have, obviously the carry costs. This is the resale value, and this is actually super conservative. There's a property, I don't know if you guys spend much time on this side of town, but there's an 8-unit subdivision off of Collister that some of the houses sold for probably way below where they should have. And a lot of it, I think, had to do because they weren't designed very well. And just the way the market was with interest rates and everything. But there's also a custom house that sold for about 1.135, I think. So this, more than likely, if you design this well, this could actually be well over $1 million. But again, great margin even at the $900,000 price point. And then we have a little bit, the existing house again is in pretty good shape. I just have a budget in here to basically repaint the entire house. Each room is a different color, so I'd probably just clean it up a little bit and have more consistent um, paint scheme throughout. And then we have the RV there. Again, you just kind of lose money on this existing house because, well, number one, the rents are going to be lower than your mortgage. But then also when you go to resell it, so you basically kind of lose a little bit of money on the existing house unless the market changes over 2 years significantly. And a lot of times, we don't want to count on that, but a lot of times, just on average, you're gonna increase in price over 2 years anyway. So especially in this market, I think, for just, not with projecting, but like we could probably say reasonably well that the interest rates are going to probably come down over the next 2 years. Okay, and then we have our third deal that came on this week as well. So this 5227 South Eugene Street. So this one, I'm trying to remember the location of this one. Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, this is a great location too. So this is actually Northwest Boise, right across the street from Castle Hills Park. So not only are you right across the street from a park, but you're also the foothills are like literally right down the street. So you have a pretty great location overall off of Hill Road and Pierce Park Lane, kind of that area. So right across the street from Castle Hills Park, and then right down the street from the foothills. And then this one, so zooming back in here. So the play here is to split a lot off right here. This is actually a large enough lot to split. Now we will have to put in sidewalks all the way around, but and most likely widen this road. I think I actually even have this road being widened also. So you have to, obviously increase the infrastructure and everything, or improve the infrastructure, but pretty great location for this split. And then again, another 6-figure deal. This one I analyzed again with the 15% down, so under 200,000 out of pocket. Once you sell off the original house, you're in it for about 150,000 out of pocket. Again, as a rental, long-term rental, you're not actually cash flowing on this deal, but it could actually be a pretty good Airbnb if we designed it that way. So again, factoring in all the development costs and then the entitlements and everything. So you have a profit on the new construction of about 150,000. And again, you just have the loss on the existing house just because of carrying costs and the sales costs, assuming the price doesn't increase over the couple of years that you hold it. Okay, so those are the best deals that came on the market this week. There's also this one on Settlers Avenue that's interesting. It just doesn't have a great profit potential, but I'll touch on this here a little bit. So what's unique about this, you can actually, it appears that you can split off the back of the lot because there's a lane right here. So you can actually have another property facing this lane. Now I did look at the street view and this actually says it's a private lane. So that's just kind of like, kind of an added mix. These are individual lots back here. So most likely you can get an easement to this lane. It's probably owned by the HOA. you might have to, maybe pay them off a little bit to have access to it. But most of the time, if you offer somebody some cash, they'll do that. I would just say on this deal, because there's not a ton of margin, this part of town, just you don't see the resale price per square foot as high as you do other parts of town. So like, because we have other deals here, it's just not the best deal that we've seen. Let's see. This Hartman Avenue, we haven't finished analyzing, but kind of a similar area of town. And I think ultimately this is only a 2-bedroom house. They're asking 519. So I think this is gonna not pencil out very well. We also have this Targhee Street, which is an interesting deal because you can actually add 2 lots of this. They're just way overpriced on this property because again, it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house at 918 square feet. They're asking 515, but if you look at what the house is actually worth, because it actually needs work too, the existing house is only worth like 250. So they're asking way over the existing house value. So again, this is kind of an example of like a bad deal. So because whoever listed this and the seller, they're in the right path where they think that their property is worth more because it's on land. But the problem is that land, when it's not improved, is not really worth any money. So the reason why our strategy works is because you add value to the land when you improve it and not before it's improved. Because nobody's gonna, like, this house isn't gonna appraise at 515,000. So if somebody tries to get a bank loan on this, the bank's gonna think that they're crazy. And if they hire anybody that knows what they're doing with land development and building, they're going to see that this is by the time they build all this out and develop it, they're losing money on each lot and they're losing money on each build. So it just doesn't make any sense to pay more money for the lot than what just the house is worth on its own in most areas of town. So it's partly, number one, why it's important to work with people that understand all this, but then also, just on the same token, to not go in and pay extra for land on these deals because they're sitting on a large lot. Okay. I will say that with a caveat, because sometimes you spend a little bit more on the land, but if it's in the right area of town, you can get away with that. It's just most of the time you want to get it as close to zero extra for the land as possible. Okay, and then we have Sumac Street. So I wanted to touch on this really quick. This is the seller carry one. They said they're open to seller carry. They actually reduced the price by 25,000 or 26,000 this week. I'm just going to pull up this listing really quick. So we can actually split a 35 or 30-foot wide skinny lot off of the north side of this property. So basically where the current driveway is, but this is also on a cul-de-sac over here. So you can actually access parking off of the cul-de-sac, it appears. And then this is, again, turnkey ready. This could be a rental. And with the price improvement, this ends up being pretty good. So the seller in their comments noted that they wanted $150,000 down. This has been on the market for a couple months, so you could probably negotiate either the down amount or the percentage that they're financing at, or both, or possibly even further on the price, the sale price. So typically sellers get a little bit more motivated the longer it sits on the market. Okay, and then we have these 2 deals that have been on our list for a while. So Harmony Street went pending this week again. It's gone pending now twice before. This is the 3rd time. So we'll see if it sticks, but they did actually, before it went pending, they reduced the price down below 400,000, which is kind of where I thought it should be the whole time. So, one of these is going to stick. And then Hale Street, this was the rent by room strategy that went pending again as well. So for single family splits, that's what's currently on the market. So a few good deals. We don't really have anything in the small multifamily right now. Subdivisions. So this is actually, I put this on there just as a placeholder, but this is probably going to be a partnership that I'm actually going to likely partner with the homeowner on. And then trying to remember this deal. This is a Hill Road deal again. Oh yeah, okay. So this one could be subdivided into, this is on let's see, almost an acre. And you can subdivide up to 10 more homes. So this could be a good deal too on a, mid-sized development where you could actually get a mortgage on the existing house and then subdivide and then even build it out in different phases, build 2 or 3 houses at a time once you have the infrastructure in. So I don't fully analyze these deals until we have somebody that's expresses interest, because they typically take more cash. So if you look at all these are all 300 plus thousand. They're usually close to a 500,000. So I won't go into depth on most of these, but if somebody does have interest in doing these and has a little bit more capital to work with in the 500,000 plus range, these typically have more total profit. The ROI is about the same as a lot of the single family ones, but you just have some economies of scale there. And then we also have these vacant land deals. So this is interesting. So this came on the market yesterday, and they actually gave me a heads up a couple days before this. This is actually a commercial property right in the heart of the Whitewater district. There's 2 houses there that need to get torn down, but it's literally right next to Whitewater Park and next to Casino Beach, literally the property next door. And it's a phenomenal price. So they're asking $975 for this whole parcel right here. And which is a phenomenal deal for this. They're also selling, different seller is selling these 6 parcels together. So this is another deal. They're asking kind of a high price for this though, but this is all going to be developed. I would love if somebody reached out and had a money partner that would we could do this together, because this is becoming an amazing part of town here. So but that just came on the market. I don't have the other parcel because it's not on the market. It's off market right now. But if somebody has interest that's in doing these deals, definitely a cool spot there. And on this property on 35th, I did a rough layout. I think I can actually get up to 18 townhome lots. Or I think my other layout was 11 townhomes and then a condo tower. So there's definitely some good potential on this one. Okay, so I think that's it for the deals I was going to review this week. I did want to mention too this Techney Lane again. So this is actually a shovel or a vertical ready development in Garden City. So it's down closer to the fairgrounds, but it actually has already been horizontally developed, and they've also actually already built the first set of townhomes. So these have been built and sold for, probably at least a year or 2 now. But they have, I think it's 17 additional lots. Yeah, 17 additional lots. These all have all the infrastructure. So they're actually vertical ready. So I'd have to further analyze this fully, but I don't think this is actually a pretty good price for vertical ready townhome lots, I think. So again, I'd have to fully analyze this, but if somebody's wanting to do some kind of partnership on this and have a quicker turnaround, theoretically I would probably, so 17 lots, I'd probably do that in 3 phases, do like it's probably 3 different townhome buildings. So I just do one building at a time, get them sold. But that's probably got some pretty good profit potential there. So all right, that's it. And I'm going to stop the recording, and then we can chat about the other deals here.